Coming up today on the Nice Guys on Business.
The great thing about virtual summits is you don't need a product, you don't need a brand, you don't need any kind of social proof credibility thing. So you just say, I want to interview a bunch of people for this summit. You bring them on. They promote the summit with the affiliate links you've given them. You can get other affiliates to jump on board too, because then you go to those people and you say, I have 30 people who spoke at this summit. We have upsell, we have downsell, we have all kinds of sell. And, there's plenty of potential for you to make money as an affiliate.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while. You could miss the Nice Guys on Business. I'll have what the Nice Guys on Business are having. Need an education on how to grow your business? The Nice Guys are here to help. Learn about great customer service, networking, and how just being nice can help you prosper. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
Today's keywords are drive more traffic, and I can't think of a more qualified guy than Marc Guberti. Marc is a USA Today and Wall Street Journal best-selling author with over 100,000 students in over 180 countries enrolled in his online courses. Crazy, man. I'm just trying to get my first person to buy my course, and it's like, you have 100,000 students. That's cool. He's the host of the Breakthrough Success podcast and radio show, where listeners learn how to achieve their breakthroughs. He coaches authors, speakers, podcasters, and entrepreneurs on how they can attract more traffic to their content and boost their revenue. Marc Guberti, I'm excited to have you here, man. Welcome to the Nice Guys on Business podcast.
Doug, thank you so much for having me on the show.
I'm excited to have you here, and I'm glad that we were able to do this show exchange. I came on your show, and you're somewhere around episode 200, 300, 400. How many episodes do you have of your show?
Around 400 right now.
That's nuts, man. And I know that after doing about 400 plus another 600 after that, I'm still learning every day. And as I just said, this is the first time we actually are doing an interview live in our Facebook group. I'm thinking it's live right now, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll find out at the end of the interview if it actually did anything. So, man, I appreciate your patience as I work through all of the technology curveballs. So thanks, man, for being here, and thanks for sharing your knowledge.
My pleasure.
So I got to ask some questions here right at the get-go. I think let's see, you're 21?
Yes.
I think at 21, I might have still been in diapers, or I might have trying to figure out how to steal my mom's car so I could take it out and go get beer. And you've built this business with 100,000 students, and you have a podcast with 400 episodes. What drives you, dude? Because I'm telling you, you are so far out of the gate from where most people are at 21. And I'm so proud of you because we've had a chance to hang out for a few New Media Summit offerings. So what drives you?
I'd say the thing that drives me, I love what I do, so it's easy for me to show up and work. But the big thing for me is that I feel like young people don't recognize that they can be successful at the opportunity they have. And I feel like too many people think they have to graduate college first before they can really do anything outside business or anything like that. So I feel like part of what I'm doing is I feel like if people see this 21-year-old, 18, 19, 20, based on what podcasts I've been on, but 21 right now, if they see this 21-year-old, then they think that it's possible for them. So that's one of the things that drives me, and just the love for what I do, because you've done over 1,000 interviews. I've done hundreds of interviews myself, and you just love the conversations you have with people.
I do. And I think that, I always talk about that hidden gift that you get from podcasting. And while it's great to be able to make the money that podcasting provides and be able to go all sorts of places, it's the network and it's the connections that you make. It's guys like you you're about to teach me in the next 30 minutes. You're going to teach me more stuff than I know about driving traffic to my business and to my website than I probably have ever known in my entire life. And I know that is just one of those hidden gifts that we always get from, that I have continued to get from podcasting. Does it work the same way for you?
Yeah. I see how people are doing different things with their business. Wow, I never even thought about that. And then I do it for my business and I see the results. So I feel, I learned so much from the podcast and I get so much more done because of it.
All right. Well, take me through a little bit of the application of what you do and how you do it. So why don't you start there? What do you do? How do you do it?
So I do a bunch of different things, but the main thing comes down to how can I get people to see the thing that I want them to see? So how do I get people to see the book, the training course, the coaching? How do I get people to see that? So what I do is I have people on my podcast because some of those people become clients. I have some of those people also participate in my launch teams because having a launch team really positions you to get more exposure for your book, get more exposure for your training course. So those are just some of the different things. I'm also using social media to drive more awareness, books. I have my YouTube channel as well. So there's a lot of different things. And the reason I'm in YouTube, podcast, blogging, all these different things is we have different ways of learning. So I know there are some people right now who they will only listen to podcast episodes, but there are people who don't know what a podcast is yet for some weird reason.
That's
which
crazy.
is why, one of the reasons why anyway, Doug's using Facebook Live, because, there are people who don't know podcasting who know Facebook. And people will find him that way. And also people who know what podcasting is and they know Doug and his show, they see him on Facebook Live. So that's another touch point. So being omnipresent, all these different places is one of those ways to build relationships with people. And if people see you everywhere, it's only a matter of time before they buy from you.
All right. So let's take one potential use of your drive more traffic system and the stuff that you do, and let's just talk about it. Let's take an author that I might have in my listening audience or somebody that's just written a book that's been a guest on my show. How do we get more people to get eyeballs onto their book? So getting on podcasts is one way. What else is another way to drive traffic to their book?
I'd say the biggest is having a book launch team. So being able to have relationships and build relationships if you don't have them yet. One of the things you could do is say, if you promote my book, I'll promote your book later if you're coming out with something. So do some kind of promo exchange to get a lot of people to promote your book. You can also offer perks for people to join the book launch team, like maybe a free signed copy of your book. When I was on Damon John's book launch teams for Power of Broke and Rise and Grind, we have shirts for each of those books. We got a copy of the book, we got wristbands, a really nice display of like perks. So like basically show we're appreciated for being on the book launch team. So that's something specific to launches. For books, also, you could be using Amazon ads to get more exposure on Amazon, because when we're talking about books, for the most part, we're talking about Amazon. There's Barnes & Noble, there are iBooks, but Amazon is the key player. So those are just some of the ways that we can focus on getting more exposure for our books.
Okay, so take me through the process of developing a launch team then, because it sounds like, okay, you've just taught me some ways that I can really promote this and make a go of it. But how do I actually find team members, and what does that look like?
So the key thing with a launch team is you want to have a bunch of people who are in your niche who will promote your book. So if you have a podcast and you're interviewing people, you could build up your list of contacts. And in an interview situation like this, where Doug and I are talking, we're building a relationship right now. We've had the New Media Summit context. We're at a point where Doug and I, if one of us is launching a book, the other would make some effort to help out. So having a podcast is very strategic for this part. If you don't have a podcast, get one. But if you don't have a podcast and you want to do it, you don't want to have a podcast, one of the things you can do is look for authors who have books on Amazon, who they're doing well, but not like where they're like a celebrity status. So don't look for the people on Amazon who have like 100 reviews for their books. Look for people who have like 10 reviews or 12 reviews or something like that for their books, because those are the people who they also want more exposure to their books as well. And they're more than happy to promote your book if it means them promoting your book as well. So if you search your keyword on Amazon, you find those types of books, not on page 1, but go like page 2, 3, 4, 5, reach out to those people, build relationships with them, and get them on your book launch team.
That's nice. That's a really great way to kind of create in the same space that you're looking in, create a co-launch team, or something for you, something for them. It all works together and jointly. What about somebody that's not actually launching something, but has just wants promotion? So for example, somebody's got an online course. I have an online course. We're just rolling it out now. It's a launch in a weekend podcast launch program. And the idea behind it was certainly to get a whole bunch of affiliates and people engaged in that. But what would be a good strategy for somebody that, like me, that has a course, might not have a huge list, but really is excited about the launch, not the launch, but excited about the product, but not dealing with a specific launch or specific day that it needs to roll out?
So first off, I would definitely reach out to your email list, because like you could, even if there's some people who have small lists, but very targeted lists, and
Mm-hmm.
those kinds of people can get more results than people with a big list. So definitely engage with your own email list, your own audience there. But when it comes to something that maybe like an evergreen type of product where, it's not like open cart is this day, closed cart is this day, because there's a lot of launches like that. If you just have an evergreen launch, you can still reach out to affiliates, and actually affiliates will really like you for that, because I've promoted like Steve Olser's course, I've promoted Chandler Bolt, Ray Edwards, Jeff Walker, all these different people. And it's great when you're in the launch, and it's great when you make a sale, but then you get closed to cart, and you can't promote it anymore because there's no point. You got to wait for next year. So someone who's doing like a launch, like an evergreen style launch, where like there's no like open cart, closed cart, just like launch it as it is and not really take it down at all. That's going to be great for affiliates who they're looking for something to promote in between launches, because I could go like almost the entire summer with not much affiliate activity because there's not as many launches available. And
right.
There are a lot of affiliates who, they'll promote this course and the other course, but then they have no idea what to do when it's not in front of them. So that's where you can come in and say, you don't have to promote this today, but just promote it whenever you feel ready and it works for your schedule.
Take me to the next step. If you find a team or people that want to promote an evergreen launch, let's say, again, I'm using my my launch in a weekend podcast launch course as an example, where it is an evergreen launch. There is not a specific open cart, closed cart day. How prepared do I need to make the people that are promoting this? So if I have an email list and somebody says, and I send out an email to them, again, I'm assuming what I'm doing is, even if it's a few hundred people I'm sending an email to and say, hey, I have a course that's coming out, or my course has been released. It's evergreen. There is no launch, open cart, closed cart day. But I also want to have you promote it. How much do I give them copy? Do I give them photos? Do I give them posts? How prepared do I need to make them in order for them to be excited about wanting to promote it?
So obviously the affiliate link, is one of those things that should go without saying, but you never really know. So I'd say the affiliate link, that's the big thing. In terms
All right,
of,
hold on. Before you go to beyond that, tell those that are in our community that have never even heard of an affiliate link, how do you get an affiliate link? What's that all about?
So an affiliate link is you receive a link from someone. So we'll use Doug as an example. Doug gives me a link, and I use that link to promote Doug's course. And if someone buys through my link, I get paid a commission. So it depends on like what I've seen. A lot of training courses do 40 or 50%. For a recurring model, it's usually 30% per month recurring. So obviously there are differences though.
And what companies, do you know of any companies just offhand that prepare affiliate relationships so that, I'm not going to do all the back end work. I want somebody else to keep the accounting and the bookkeeping and all that and track who's coming from where. So are there companies that specifically you work with for that?
I usually do the back end myself. I know if you want to like affiliate marketing, Matt McWilliams is really the top guy in that. And he's behind all the really big launches. So I would say use him as a reference, but prep work, it's like all you really need is swipe copy. You can do graphics and stuff like that, which will enhance it, will make it easier for people to share on social media, but swipe copy is the very minimum of what you need.
Okay. And swipe copy is just a copy of what the emails that are going to go out, all of the social media posts, anything that you're going to need for that affiliate to promote whatever it is that you're promoting. In this particular case, it would be for a launch in a weekend podcast, a launch course.
Yes. That's
Okay.
what it is.
Come back to the affiliate for just one quick moment. Are there companies that keep track of your affiliate for you? When you said you do it yourself, are you actually physically setting up the links yourself? And if so, where do they lead to? Because doesn't there need to be a company that's in between you and the person that actually is your affiliate?
Yeah, I use, there are two resources, Samcart and Thrivecart, where you put the person in the system and then they give a link for you. I would recommend Thrivecart though, because while Samcart and Thrivecart are pretty similar, Samcart is $197 per month, while Thrivecart is $600 just one time. So
Got it.
you could do this big affiliate promotion Because for my first summit, I used Sam cards. So you do this big affiliate promotion. You're like, look, I made all this money. But then it's like, you're still paying $200 a month to use Sam card to have all those pages up. And then I look at Thrive cards, like it's $600 one time. I mean, a year from now, it's still 600. Sam cart would be like 2,400 and growing.
Right.
So I made the switch from Sam cart to Thrive cart. The thing with making the switch, though, is all your Sam cart pages, like, they don't work anymore. So I had to do the whole transition for what I had from Sam cart to Thrive cart, recreate all these different sales pages and have the email and all that stuff talk to each other. So I'd recommend just do Thrive cart right away. It makes sense. Like, 3 months from now with Sam cart, you're at the same price point as Thrive cart anyway.
Excellent. Well, that's really good advice. I actually wrote that down. Thrive cart is a way to establish the affiliate relationships. How involved does Thrive cart get with helping you or walking you through things like swipe copy and getting everybody prepared, or not at all, and they're just the accounting and the link creator?
They're just the link creator and the platform. So you'll still have to write all the swipe copy and stuff like that. But ThriveCart makes it easier for you to give people links and communicate.
Excellent. And so share with our community the success that you've had in what platforms promoting affiliates. So you've done online courses. It sounds like you've had a book launch. What other things do you do what other, products or services are you offering that you have created this affiliate relationship with and then sold?
For me, virtual summits have been really big because you get a bunch of people who, the great thing about virtual summits is you don't need a product, you don't need a brand, you don't need any kind of social proof credibility thing. So you just say, I want to interview a bunch of people for this summit. You bring them on, they promote the summit with the affiliate links you've given them. You can get other affiliates to jump on board too, because then you go to those people and you say, I have 30 people who spoke at this summit. We have upsell, we have downsell, we have all kinds of sell. And, there's plenty of potential for you to make money as an affiliate. So I think virtual summits are a really great model. And it's just interviews. Like if you could do like 20 to 50 of these interviews, which I know, Doug, you could definitely do. I feel like if you make your interviews like 20 to 30 minutes for everyone listening or watching the Facebook Live, it is, a really great opportunity. And you don't need all this other like book or training course and the thing with launch is also is one of the things that like they'll throw stats at you if they've done it before. Excuse me. So they'll do like the average revenue per click, like you make $2 per click on average based on the results we've seen. You don't have to give people any of those kinds of stats. You just have to say, we're launching this awesome virtual summit. And it's easier to get speakers for it and then get them to promote the summit. So I think it's a really great model for anyone.
All right, let's walk through the virtual summit idea for just a moment for those that are in our listening audience and saying, hey, I want to create a side hustle without any social proof and because you really can. The beauty of virtual summits are you're the facilitator for the summit, but there doesn't have to be a topic that you actually are an expert in. And that's the beauty of it, because I could bring, well, I'm going to let you explain it, but it is such a great tool because I could bring on, experts in the genome world. I don't have to know anything about genomes other than ask the right questions to them. Yep. They all share their information. So why don't you share how a virtual summit works? But can you also share, just for a quick moment, how the money works for a virtual summit? Because I think that people are like, well, where does the money come into that thing? So why don't you share that?
Sure. And also when you do that summit, like genome, for instance, you become a genome expert.
Isn't that amazing? It's amazing. You have become the hub by which all of these other genome experts, you weren't even an expert in it to begin with, but you become the expert in that subject because you have corralled all of these bigger experts in this space. So go ahead and share how that process works, because it is fascinating to me, Mark.
So virtual summits, you get all the people to interview. The way that a lot of summits make money is you let people in for free for like 48 hours. And then after the 48 hours, all the sessions expire. So if you register for the summit, you watch the session, you want to rewatch it 48 hours and 1 minute later, you can no longer rewatch that session. So if you want to rewatch the sessions, you get the all access pass, which is anything from $47 to $500, depending on what the summit organizer decides to do. Sometimes they charge even higher. But that's pretty much how you make money on the front end. When anyone subscribes to any one of my summits, I am immediately saying like, thank you for subscribing. Here's your ticket. But first I want to tell you about the all access pass so you get lifetime access. So it's one of those soft upsells right away. You talk about it during your event, like at the end of your each summit session. This is something I did not do for a while, but at the end of each summit session, you say like, thank you so much for coming on the summit. We've got bonuses. We've got really awesome stuff for everyone who gets the all access pass. This session will not be up 48 hours from now. So make sure you go through a link below so you have that call to action at the end of each individual interview, which is something really important to do. So that's how you make money from summits with the all access pass. But then you have the upsells. You can lead people into your coaching. You can lead people into your training course. Some people, they make more money from the virtual summits when they sell a training course at the end than from any of the all access passes they could ever sell. So it's the all access pass also. When someone buys from you $47 and up, like $500, $1,000, it's easier and easier to sell those kinds of things to people also when they
and
buy
keep in mind, as you're listening to this, it is passive income. It is income that comes in if the virtual summit remains evergreen to you, or if it is something that you promote through the 20 or 30 people that are on your virtual summit. You now have a mailing list. The idea behind the summit is collect as many of those emails as you can. That's how people get enrolled in the summit. That's their entrance fee to the summit, is their list. And those people know that there also potential for them gaining more list people because you're promoting it to your list and to your listeners. You're going to get those people interested because now they have access to your audience and your community as well. What you mentioned the virtual summit. Is there a specific platform that you use for your virtual summits?
So I have used ClickFunnels before for one of my summits. What works for me better is Optimized Press. Very similar argument between ThriveCart and SamCart. ClickFunnels, $97 a month. Optimized Press, $97 one time. You just need a WordPress site to be able to use Optimized Press, but Optimized Press is what allows me to make my summits evergreen. I wasn't able to figure out yet how to do that on ClickFunnels, but Optimized Press is, it's something with coding, but like Optimized Press is something where I can make my summits evergreen very easily, because a lot of people, they do a summit and then it just rots away. And I didn't want that to happen with mine.
Nice. So, and I just wrote that down to optimizepress.com. Is that how you get there? All right, great. We'll make sure we put a link in the show notes for you for that as well. And Marc, tell me, how it seems like the majority of your income is coming from such a diversified source of input that if any one of those excels, you'll be great. But if you're looking to get a lot, or you're making a little bit from a bunch of different angles, does that sound right?
Yeah, I have a wide variety of streams of income, a little bit coming in from each different source, and like the exciting thing is I have more things to build on. Like I have a lot of different opportunities in front of me, so it's just a matter of being able to prioritize and make it happen.
So tell those that are in our community, our Nice Guy community, that are listening to this, and our Turnkey Podcast community who are also listening to this on our Facebook page, share with our community the services that you offer, because obviously as we're listening to this Nice Guy community, you can see that Marc has a vast, deep set of skills and a huge knowledge base that obviously I do not possess. And I'm getting the best part of this is I'm getting free coaching right now. So I love this, and you just happen to be the beneficiary of the free coaching in my community because you're listening to Marc as well. So what's the range of services that you offer, and how can people reach out to you?
So the way to reach out is just go to marcguberti.com/strategy to schedule a free call with me, see if we're a good fit, see if I can help you. So Doug and I, we both help people with podcasting. So flip a coin there, or if you just feel like going to Doug, go to Doug. I also help people with YouTube. I help people with their books. I help people with virtual summits. So there are a bunch of different things I do. A lot of it is coaching, but if we talk and we figure out a done for you makes more sense, we will do a done for you. But I do recommend it, even if you're just like scratching your head wondering, like, is this a possible fit? Does this make sense? If we schedule a strategy call and we talk together, we could figure it out together.
Excellent. Excellent. What do you prefer? Do you like to do the coaching over the done for you services, or do you actually like to get your hands into the, into the grit and get it done for them?
I like the coaching better because, I mean, it's just less time and I'm still able to have the impact. Like a done for you is something I'm still happy to do for people, but it depends on like how much work the done for you is, because I feel like with coaching, like it's, you can get more clients, like, and serve more people because, coaching call, like it depends on how you structure it, but it's like a coaching call program is definitely less time than a done for you, which is why a done for you, you obviously see that at premium. Now you can scale that by delegating some of the parts of it done for you, but coaching for me is something I like having the conversation. So I could definitely do both of them.
Cool. And what would be your advice to those that are listening in our community that just they want to create a side hustle, they just don't know the direction to go? It seems like, like we talked about with the virtual summits, is that you don't even need to be an expert in order to have that happen, but you still need to understand some of the components of it. So what's your advice to somebody that's looking for a side hustle but just can't figure out what direction to go in?
I would say dabble in a lot of things. And then when you figure out what is your main thing, that's when you like really go for it. Because I think with side hustles, you could find like 101 different side hustles to make an extra little bit of income. And I feel like people who initially jump in, they're like, wow, I have so many different options. How about you play around with them and see if it's something you'd like to do? For me, I love writing books. You may hate writing books. I don't know. But if you try it, you'll know if this is something you enjoy or not. And then if you see, like, okay, I have a few things I enjoy, this one's bringing me a ton of income, that's the one I focus on.
Nice. And the person that's out there that says, I really love all of this, I just have no idea about the technology. Like we've talked about a couple of things. We talked about the Thrive Cart affiliate relationship. We talked about Optimized Press with virtual summits. Somebody that's listening that has never heard of those things, doesn't understand how virtual summits work, doesn't understand how affiliate relationships work. Can they still get involved in something like that, even if it's beyond the scope of their knowledge right now?
Well, that's where the done for you comes in. But even if you just want to go all in on just by yourself and wing it, I mean, just try those technology pieces, Thrive Cart, Optimize Press. And I feel like the more you immerse yourself in that kind of technology, the more you get comfortable with it. I feel like with a lot of these tools, it's kind of like the similar type of setup where, like, if you master Optimize Press, you have an idea of what to do when Thrive Cart comes your way. And it's just a matter of like with the tools and technologies, being able to figure out how some of these things work and getting an idea of how these things work, and getting an idea of figuring out that whole process of going from like, I have no idea what I'm doing to actually know how to scroll through Optimized Press. So I feel like as you use these tools, you get better with not just those tools, but better at figuring out new tools quicker.
Right, right. It's a whole different landscape. And Nice Guy community and Turnkey podcast community, as you are listening to this, just know that sometimes, just like podcasting, 1,000 episodes in, this literally is the first time I have run this on Facebook Live through my Turnkey podcast group. What's cool about it is, yeah, I already knew podcasting, and I already know Facebook, and I've been on live before. So now I'm just connecting some of those tentacles that I've never connected before. And it is kind of cool. It's a way to expand your reach and broaden my horizons. And it is a way ultimately to drive more traffic to our show, which ultimately is going to benefit our Be a Great Guest workshop program that we have, our DIY program that we have too for launch in a weekend. All of the things that we need in order to keep that what's it called? The money coming in. That's that for us. The monetization side of it is key. But the technology, it's like, I don't want to have to learn all this new stuff. Marc is a great resource, and I would encourage you to reach out to him. Again, Marc, what's the best way to reach out to you? How do they get to you?
MarcGuberti.com/strategy. That is Marc with a C though. So make sure for everyone typing that in.
Yeah, and we'll make sure we put a link in the show notes, how to get to Marc's website and how to get a hold of him directly. So Marc, as we kind of wrap up the interview here, man, I really appreciate your skill set, your knowledge. I mean, you are a smart guy. And, I have a lot to learn from you, and just listening to you inspires me to want to do more and to do better in the things that I do. So I appreciate that. For you, what's the next step for you? Where do you see yourself going in you're 21. Where do you see yourself going in even the next handful of years?
Well, this is my last semester of college, so I'm definitely thinking about that and different things I could be doing with my time. So I am launching a new podcast, Ditch the Job, because I feel like there's just like I love interviewing people. It's a source of business, and I mean, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Being able to when I say like who are the 5, I literally count podcasts as one of those 5 people.
One, right, right.
So like doing more of that kind of stuff, and just when I graduate, I'll really be able to see the difference between having the school schedule and being able to fully embrace it full time.
Do you see yourself ever getting a quote unquote a real job, or are you going to be an entrepreneur your entire life?
No way. Would you go back?
No, I haven't worked in 30 years in a real job. I don't think anybody would hire me at this point in my life. So tell me about just because I'm always looking at this from when I'm talking to somebody that's in their 20s, I'm looking at it from, and I have 2 kids. My kids are 23 and 26 as of the recording of this. What are your parents thinking about what you're doing?
They're definitely very proud of what I'm doing. They're very supportive, and they just let me do what I want to do, in the sense where it's like they see what I'm doing. They're like, "Good for you. Keep going. You're doing great." Because some people say, this new business thing is the new hip, and you should go into that. But they just let me do what I feel like is the best stuff to move me forward.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm proud of you as a guy that just knows you for the last couple of years from podcasting. We met at New Media Summit. Were you at the first one?
I was at just 4 and 5.
Only the last 2. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I've had a chance to go to all 5 of them. And I thought for some reason that you were at all 5. Your presence at these New Media Summits, at the Mastermind, when we have the icons of influence all get together. And again, community, as you're listening to this, we have a mastermind at the end of these. And there's about 40 of us, or maybe between 30 and 40 regularly, that come to this mastermind. And Marc is always one of those guys that he's ultimately extremely positive. He has a great attitude. He wants to learn. And while he could teach it, he is actually a sponge of information. And it is amazing how great, how much stuff that you pick up. And I see it because I just see the transformation of you from the last New Media Summit to this current one. And you've really gone so far beyond where you were, so much further than many of us older people have gone through, because it's like, oh, I don't want to learn this new technology thing. And you embrace it, man. I appreciate that about you.
Thank you.
All right. So any final words of wisdom to our nice guy community? Somebody wants to get a hold of you. You know how to do that. Everybody, if somebody is trying to figure out what is their next step at this point, just in getting out of their day job, putting together a side hustle, what should they do, Marc?
I would focus on building relationships, because it doesn't matter. Like in the end, you hear about social media marketing, you hear about podcasting, you hear about speaking. There's just so many things you hear about. But at the end of the day, it's people interacting with people, connections being made, money being exchanged. So at the end, it's really about relationships. So that's why I'm a strong advocate for podcasting. That's why Doug is a strong advocate for podcasting. That's why I also recommend virtual summits, because think about it. It's not like you're just posting something on Twitter saying, buy my stuff, which I love Twitter. Like that's my best social network. But when it comes to relationship building and being able to interview people, that's where the magic happens. That's where you start getting clients. That's where you start getting partners for your JV launches. That's where you start getting customers. That's where, if you don't know what you're doing in something, you can interview someone who knows that thing you don't know. So relationships, get into as many of the good ones as possible, because in your local community, depending on where you are, the relationships may not be as great as it could be if you literally target the entire world and just people who, like Doug and I, we're completely different parts of the US. I'm in New York, you're in California. So you're not part of my local community, but at the same time, we're still talking and conversing right now. So that's the kind of stuff you should be doing.
Make money from your pajamas, make money from home. The side hustle is great. The side hustle is definitely real. And if you turn your side hustle into a passion that you have, you can make not only a 6-figure income, but you can make a 7-figure income from it as well. Marc Guberti, thanks for being on the Nice Guys on Business. Thanks for being on the Turnkey podcast. And again, appreciate you, man, and very proud of what you've done. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure, Doug. Thanks for having me.
Nice guy community, never underestimate the power of nice. Special thanks to Marc Guberti for being on the show. All of his information, including access to his podcast, access to his website, access to everything that Marc has, maybe even his parents. We might want to talk to them as well at a future episode. Oh, gosh, we'll be right there in the show notes. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
For Doug, Strickland, the Nice Guys on Business podcast, I'm Steve O'Brien. 130 plus episodes and still no residual check. Nice. Actually, not nice.